What's up, guys? Welcome to Box Football, and I'm back here with Jack. And recently, there's just been this overhaul on team of the season in the Premier League, and obviously Sky Sports came out with it. Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher, the two best pundits in the world today. They had their team of the season in the Premier League, and to be fair, it struck a large bit of controversy throughout social media, and people were sure what team, like how is he putting him there? Like I seen Gary Neville put Rashford in because of what he did off the pitch for feeding kids, and like I love it. I love what he's doing there, but you can't be giving players stuff for sentimental reasons. They have to be generally the best, and their teams are quite interesting. So Gary Neville's team is Benjamin Mendy, Carl Walker, Diaz, Maguire, Shaw, Fernandez, Gundogan, De Bruyne, Marcus Rashford, Harry Kane, and Phil Foden. Now, that team doesn't really like hit you. And then you listen to Jamie Carragher's team too. At the same time, he has Martinez, Kofar, John Stones, Diaz, Shaw, Bruno Fernandes, Kante, De Bruyne, Foden, Harry Kane, and Son, and it just seems to be a lot of like more passionate loving instead of actually picking the best team. Right. So we are going to pick what we consider to be the best team. Now, also, one of the things that I realized, Jamie Carragher mentioned formations and strategies. This is the team of the season. They're not going to play a football game. It's the best players that get in of the season. So when I see players that pick, but he's a holding in midfield. So what happens if they counterattack? They're not playing. They're not playing.
Exactly. You know? I think you, me, and I think Timmy have done drafts in the past where we've done like world 11s, and we did the whole thing of like if they were to play each other, like us as managers kind of constructing a team. And that was when we were like, oh, well, we're drafting players because if they were to play. Yeah, James, you're absolutely right. Like if the formation calls for 3 strikers, an attacking midfielder, and like only 2 defenders, if that's the best team, then that's the best team. Like you said, we're not going to see them play the best team from La Liga, although that would be kind of cool, maybe as a charity match. But like, it's not going to happen. It's just the best players who make the team.
And Jack, if I'm being honest, I think that this is one of the weakest teams of the season in recent years. I feel like.
Yes,
I feel like there is no outstanding player. So when you're picking the PFA player of the year, bar maybe one, which is Ruben Diaz in my eyes, there is no outstanding player.
Well, James, what's crazy is I think the players that you and I are going to agree on here for most of the team, we're going to say that, yeah, okay, they had a good year, but they didn't have a great year. Like there's some of these top players who we're going to pick up here. I think we could say they actually still could have done better. I'm not going to name names. We'll save that for later. But
we'll save that for later. But I have a thing with.
I was going to say that.
You're right. And my thing with this is that a lot of them players, they had great spurts. So they had very high spurts, but not consistent throughout the whole season. Like a player like, I don't think he's going to make it, but Calvin Lewin started off the season like a house on fire. Right. And the last 10, 15 games, he scored like 1 goal. So right. I think that's what we've gotten this season. Even the ones who we think are great, throughout this whole season, the consistency level hasn't been there. But Jack, we've been chatting for a bit, and I'm pretty sure you guys want to get into the team. We're going to play, Jack, can we agree we're going to play a 4-3-3? Or a 1-4-3-3?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I've got 4 defenders, 3 midfielders, 3 forwards. I mean, you know, like I say, you can dress it up, play whoever you want, wherever you want, but that's what I've gone for.
Okay, so Jack, let's get into it right now. Goalkeeper. Who do you got in for goalkeeper?
I've got Emi Martinez. I think everybody at home who's been listening to us for a couple of years now, potentially, they know what I'm about when it comes to, you know, it's my classic thing about environment. And yes, if you do play as a top goalkeeper and you don't face that many shots and you keep a bunch of clean sheets, I'm not putting so much respect on your name as somebody who has to put a lot of work in. Now, James, I know your response to that a lot of the time is that for the quote unquote better goalkeepers, they're under more pressure because they don't do things for large spells of the game, then they have to do something. But as far as I'm concerned, Emi Martinez, his impact on this Aston Villa team, how good he's been. I'll just give a couple of statistics. I know statistics can lie, but the one in particular is post-shot expected goals minus goals allowed. He's in the 99th percentile. He's borderline the best goalkeeper when it comes to that statistic, which shows you how well he has performed this year. Villa have been great. I think a bit of a surprise package, gone off the boil a little bit recently. Obviously, Jack Grealish hasn't been solely available. But for me, Emi Martinez, I don't feel super strongly about it, but I don't see another goalkeeper who I'd be willing to put Emi Martinez aside.
Now, Jack, I had three candidates. I had Ederson, Benjamin Mendy.
Edward.
Edward Mendy. There's so many Mendys. I'm sorry. And then Emi Martinez. And the thing about Ederson this year, I think he's been solid. But the best thing for Ederson is that how great the defense has been. This is Man City's best defense. They've kept 18 clean sheets, and that's been mainly down to the defense. If I'm being honest, Mendy to me has been a player who's came in and shown so much quality and so much calm as a goalkeeper when you were thinking, ooh, you're not quite sure about him. This guy's been able to keep 16 clean sheets this year. But I'm willing to agree with you with Emi Martinez. Why? Because in his Aston Villa team that's been up and down this year,
right,
he still managed to keep 15 clean sheets. He is fifth in saves made in the Premier League, and those two stats alone right there just tell me as a goalkeeper that's performed at a high level. And me being an Arsenal fan and us letting him go and keeping Leno, it hurts because I believe, and a lot of Arsenal fans believe, that Emi Martinez was better. And Jack, I totally agree with you. I'm happy to put Emi Martinez in there.
Well, just on that, James, as well, he's better than Bernd Leno right now. I'm personally, I do like Bernd Leno. I like what he can be, but I don't know what we've seen this year that makes anybody think that Bernd Leno is a better goalkeeper right now than Emi Martinez. Martinez has been great.
I really can't agree with you there. But let's move on to let's go on to the right back. So Jack, who do you have a right back?
So at right back, I've got a bit of a split. So this is where I'm going to kind of look to you to hope that you've got one of these names so that can be who we've got. So I've got Aaron Wan-Bissaka as one of the options. Now, Aaron Wan-Bissaka is the best defensive fullback in the world. Me, James, and Timmy had a little bit of fun on Twitter earlier, kind of poking a little bit of fun at Wan-Bissaka because, yeah, he does look like Bambi out there. It always blows me away that this guy was a winger. Usually guys who are wingers that go to fullback are like super smooth on the ball. They can dribble, they can cross, they can shoot, providing that side. Wan-Bissaka is weird. You'd think this guy's more of a centre-back who's moved to fullback than a winger who's turned to fullback. But unbelievable, best defensive fullback in the world. And I would say, purely because of that, in terms of strength, you've got to say he's a top 5 fullback in the world based on those defensive characteristics. 4 or 5 assists this year, 1 or 2 goals. So he's upped his offensive contribution. So I like that. And, this Manchester United team have been good this year. My other option, João Cancelo. He's not played as much maybe as I would like. I don't love his minutes comparatively to some of the other players, but I think we've seen him on his day this year. He's been absolutely phenomenal and exactly what Pep Guardiola wants. So ball's in your court, unless you had a third player you wanted to throw in.
What it is? I will feel bad putting in João Cancelo because he hasn't played that many games. But
right,
I think the quality of minutes in games he's played this year is why I put him in there. And I'm not just putting him in there because a lot of Man City people who watch Man City just basing on what they do in the Champions League. No, João Cancelo has been consistent throughout the league season and he's put out some phenomenal performances. So I'm happy to put João Cancelo as the right back. So let's move over to the 2 centre backs. We can all both agree Ruben Diaz definitely gets in there.
Hands down. I think you touched on it earlier. PFA Player of the Year probably for me. But we'll see.
What he's been able to do to Man City is almost like the Van Dijk effect. I don't think he's as good as Virgil van Dijk, but he's a phenomenal centre back. The question is, who plays next to him, Jack? And who do you have for that one?
So, you ready for a huge cop out? I got four names.
Go on. Quick.
Yeah, I'm not going to give a breakdown on each player, but I got Wesley Fofana, James Tarkowski, Kurt Zouma, and Harry Maguire. Now, across the board, I'd probably say Wesley Fofana or Kurt Zuma are the two that I'd be leaning towards. But I don't think we can underestimate how good Harry Maguire has been this year, despite obviously the criticism because of the price tag and maybe he's a bit of lumbering in terms of his style. He has been brilliant for this Manchester United team. James Tarkowski, again, it's another unbelievably solid defensive year from him. But Zuma and Fofana, I feel like have had better years. What do you think, James?
I can't give Zuma it because I don't believe he's been the best performing defender at Chelsea. I think that's more of Thiago Silva
Right.
than anything else. And even since Tuchel has came in, Rudiger has come in and really bossed it. The one player I want to give it to now, I don't think he's that great. He's not amazing, but we have to give him credit and we have to give him flowers. Is Harry Maguire. We seen this Manchester United team today against Liverpool, and they look a shambles in defense without him. There's no organization. There's no calmness on the ball. Even bringing the ball out. How many times did Liverpool turn the ball over? Harry Maguire isn't the greatest defender of all time. I don't think he's even the best in the world, but in the Premier League, where I don't think the defenders are like that strong, he is one of the best. So I can agree with you with Harry Maguire. Can we both agree? Left back, Luke Shaw.
I think so. I don't think Luke Shaw's ever going to absolutely blow you away. But I think, first of all, his ability to stay fit, his assist and chance creation has been fantastic. And for me, he looks to be a shoo-in, I hope, left back for England this year. But obviously, difficult to tell. But that one, like with other players on this list, James, I think you'd go, yeah, he's been great. But has he been like amazing? I'm not so sure.
Again, the problem with this year is that there hasn't been an outstanding player that I can think of. Right. Liverpool, you went back then, we had Robertson killing it. You had who else? Arsenal, well, maybe Kieran Tierney having a good season. There hasn't been no one like outstanding and great, but Luke Shaw to me has been good enough, and yeah, he'll probably get an England place. There's a lot of love for the England boys right now. But let's move in to the three players that we have in midfield. Can I have one? I want to have his Gundogan in there.
Okay, so what I'd say is I think you and I both agreed De Bruyne and Fernandes, right?
The weird thing is that Fernandes I'll give to you. De Bruyne to me has been a weird one this year because Man City was successful on the pitch when he wasn't playing too. So why hasn't he's been outstanding? If I'm being honest, this is one of De Bruyne's worst seasons, but it's not been a bad season for De Bruyne because he's been outstanding. But the difference is that he's set so many great heights in seasons before, like last season, 20 assists. And don't get it twisted, he'll probably come close to that. But with injuries and Man City playing as well without him, I don't want to put him in, but because he is Kevin De Bruyne, you just kind of have to put him in.
I'd be okay with Gundogan above De Bruyne. I would pick De Bruyne personally, and then James. The only other two names I had, because I had De Bruyne and Fernandes kind of set in stone. The only other two were Thomas Souček and Wilfred Ndidi. Those were the only other two. Wilfred Ndidi is another one of these players in a similar mold to Kante, of just fantastic at his job. And his job is not sexy and it's not cool. So he's never going to get the credit he deserves.
Jack, I believe out of all Man City's midfielders this year, Gundogan to me has been the best one overall, and especially that crazy spirit he had when he just scoring goal after goal in big games. But I wouldn't mind moving De Bruyne out and putting Wilfred Ndidi in, but I don't think you would want to do that.
I mean, the thing is, and yet again, De Bruyne is another player like we talked about at the beginning, who he's been good, but it's not been De Bruyne's best year ever.
It hasn't.
So James, if you're happy, what about Thomas Souček? What do you think about Thomas Souček?
No, he's been good this year. Don't get it don't get it twisted, but I don't think he's been up to that up to that standard. The reason. Go on.
So how do you feel about Ndidi, Gundogan, Fernandes? How does that sound?
I'm happy with that. I think people are going to kill us in the comments for not having De Bruyne.
There's our clickbait title. No De Bruyne.
No, but I'm not. I'm being jelly. How many games has he played this year, Jack? Kevin De Bruyne in the Premier League, because Wilfred Ndidi's consistency level has been so high this year, and he scored in some vital games too. He's been excellent. He was excellent yesterday against Man United. I'm happy to have him in there.
So it's so for De Bruyne, it's 22 appearances, two on top of that. Two as a sub, 5 goals, 11 assists. So don't get me wrong, when he's on the field, it's absolutely phenomenal. But yeah, it's not been as often. And also, James, by Kevin De Bruyne's very high standards, that's 16 goal contributions in 22 games. That's still amazing.
It's still amazing.
It's not the same level.
Like he's going to amount to 25, 26 games this year. It's not good enough to get in the team of the season. You need to play it more. Like he's been quality, but even if some of his performances this year hasn't been that amazing. But right, again,
and like you said, James, as well, I think that just to kind of finish it off here, the drop off when he's not been there has not been there.
Like that big, you know. But yeah, let's move on to the front three. And the one I'm gonna be honest right now, I seen Phil Foden got into both their teams. First of all, can we both agree Harry Kane gets in?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
I think he's the leading goal scorer and leading assist leader. Again, being consistent, but not as consistent as other years. But Phil Foden to me is a fantastic young English talent. But I'm sorry, but can we just stop all this nostalgia stuff? Let the kid grow and develop into what he could possibly be. I'm hearing Ballon d'Ors and all that, and all that sort of stuff. Listen, Phil Foden is a fantastic football player and may go on to be great, but the pressure that you're putting on this kid already, I'm hearing people saying he's better than Bruno Fernandes. I'm hearing people comparing him to Diego Maradona. I'm like, stop it.
I know. I know. Again, James, not to kind of keep going back to the well for my sayings here, but I'm big on environment too. Now I love Phil Foden as a player, but I think any player who is technically gifted stepping into that Man City Pep Guardiola team, I think you're always going to find success. It's what you can do when you don't have that around you, what's there to be had, and then what you can achieve. My one thing, James, and this I did have this in my notes, I just had to scroll down to find it again. My one other thing was I had this gut feel of trying to find a place in the team for Mason Mount. Now, I'm not saying we need to play a 4-4-2 diamond or mix things up and kind of, make things kind of weird just so that to kind of squeeze him into the team. But what do you think about Mason Mount in this team?
I don't mind, but I have two players ahead of him that to me have to get in. To me, on the left-hand side, it has to be Mo Salah. 21 goals this season. Jackie's always up there. I'm gonna see where his assist tally is. It's not that high. Why he's like 5 assists this season, something like that. Jackie, he'll probably go on to win top goal scorer again. I'm sorry, he has to be in there.
I hate that, James. I don't think he deserves to be in there. Liverpool have been abysmal. Liverpool's front three have been absolutely shocking. Mo Salah has been a key part of that.
But Jack, he also has 21 goals this year. Regardless of you say Liverpool have been this or that, the reason why Liverpool are even in this race to even get top 4 is because he's kept them afloat at times. Yes, they haven't been that clinical. Yes, it hasn't been a great season, but he's been kind of the one real shining light at times.
I disagree. I think it's been generally abysmal for Liverpool. They've kind of rallied at the end here, but it's not because Liverpool have played well. It's because the teams who are trying to make top 4 across the board have dropped points. And I think they have a favourable matchup coming up where Chelsea actually have to play Leicester. Both of them have other commitments which are kind of on their mind. They're running here. Manchester United aren't going to win the title, and also they've already secured top 4. So it's not really like the motivation was kind of there to be had for them as well. I think my issue always with Mo Salah is if he's as great as everybody says he is, why is he not held in these conversations about how great he is?
I think he is. I think he is. Like,
people always have the handbrake on a little bit when they talk about how good Mo Salah is, and I think you and I know why that is.
No, but Jack, we're going on this season right now. Jack, he still has 21 goals this year. You can't argue against that. He's 21 goals this year.
But we know that obviously some goals obviously count more so than others, and we can respect some overall. Just so we can kind of diversify the conversation a bit more. My 2 remaining winger spots are Heung-min Son and Jack Grealish.
Okay.
I think Jack. Sorry.
I'll give you Heung-min Son. 17 goals this year, 10 assists. The problem with Heung-min Son is that started the season like a house on fire. Every time he went in front of goal, it was done. And he was my a player to get PFA player of the year of the first 15 games. And then he's just been on this weird rot where he just recently he scored like what 2 and like 10, which hasn't been great. But based on the overall season and what he's done, and players haven't really shone that high, I'll definitely give him like Heung-min Son a place. But the final place we have to agree with now.
I for me it's Jack Grealish. Now I'm not going to be overly against it, but I think with Villa and how well they were playing over, and don't get me wrong, I understand the hypocrisy. I'm looking here, by the way, James, on who scored. Jack Grealish, 22 appearances, same amount as Kevin De Bruyne, and obviously we docked Kevin De Bruyne points. Also, I just want to say to people at home, anybody who's putting Riyad Mahrez in your team of the season, you need to take a good look at your life. Like, that guy's a fine, okay enough player, but
No, Riyad Mahrez is a very, very good player, but it's mainly done in the Champions League. He's been good in the Champions League. Like, look at what he's done throughout this whole season. Come on, guys.
But for me, yes, okay, it's been a shame that Jack Grealish hasn't played as much, and what I want to remember is he was the best player in the Premier League early on in the season. Like, I don't think that's really kind of up for debate. He was the MVP of the Premier League for those early games. Now, obviously, he's not come back, and he's not going to risk coming back because I'm sure he has his aspirations of playing for England. Yeah. For me, I would take Jack Grealish over Mo Salah all day.
I think the problem with Jack Grealish is that if he would have stayed fit and kept that trajectory that he was going on, I probably would have gave him the spot. But Mo Salah's been fit for the majority of the season, and Liverpool could still finish the season on a high. He probably could end the season with 25 goals this year, Jack.
Yeah, I mean that's fine, but like I said, I'm not going to kind of, I guess, get hung up on that side of things when Liverpool's front three has been pretty abysmal across the course of the year.
But also this is the Messi Ronaldo syndrome that we're talking about here. Like we're gauging on what they did before. We're basing it on what everyone else did and what he's done compared to everyone else. I think again his height is so high, but basing on what everyone else done, I think you have to put him in there.
I mean, I'm like I say, I'm not gonna, I guess, kind of go into. I'm just looking here to see what his, I'm just gonna kind of look at some of.
Jack, I hate to say it, but we're gonna have to push you on time right now. Mo Salah.
Yeah, I mean, no, I disagree, but you can put him in there. I don't mind.
Okay, so we have Mo Salah. So Jack, what is the team that we have? So we have Emi Martinez in goal. We have João Cancelo. We have João Cancelo right back. We have Ruben Diaz and Harry Maguire as our two centre backs. Left back, we have Luke Shaw. Our three midfielders is Wilfred Ndidi, Gundogan, and Bruno Fernandes, with the three players in the middle: Mo Salah, Harry Kane, and Heung-min Son. Now, guys, this is our team. Tell me what you think right now. No Phil Foden, no Kevin De Bruyne. Do you want Riyad Mahrez in there? Maybe you put Saka in there. Let us know, guys. Tell me what you think about this team. Whether you agree or disagree, comments down below. Thanks for watching. This is Box to Box Football, and we will see you next time.